In this video, I'm going to show you how to connect the ESC to the motor and how to get everything working. Now this is the part of the video where I'm going to explain how to connect all the wires up to get everything working. And these wires coming from the motor, just make sure that the colors match together. So take your junction coming from the motor and the junction that's labeled Hall, and you want to connect them like this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this foot pedal / throttle and connect it to the junction labeled Throttle. Now to connect these next wires, it's going to be a little weird because the speed adjuster and the forward and reverse wires are connected to this throttle. That throttle is made for stuff like four-wheelers, motorized bikes, and motorized scooters, not go-karts. Take your handle throttle and a small screwdriver and you're going to unscrew these 4 screws right here. And then you're just gonna take these out like this, but you're still gonna have the throttle wires connected. We need the speed controller and the forward and reverse functions, but we don't need the throttle wires. We're gonna cut the green, red, and black one. Once you have that cut off, we're gonna go to the other end of this cable, and you're gonna find those same colored wires, the green, black, and red wires, and you're gonna cut those too. And then we are left with what we want. So we're gonna take our forward reverse button, which only has 2 wires, yellow and blue. We're gonna take the junction with the yellow and blue wire, and we are going to connect it to the junction that says reverse. Take the forward reverse wires and connect them to the wires labeled as reverse. Even though the colors of the wires are different, these two still go together. Then you're gonna take your speed adjuster, which has 3 wires. This is the other end of it. And you want to find the junction labeled 3-speed. And you will connect these two even though they are different colors. Take your key lock and you're going to want to connect it to the wires labeled as E-lock. Take those wires and connect them together. Just to recap everything you need, you just need the foot pedal connected, the E-lock, and have the reverse and 3-speed wires connected, and the Hall effect sensors connected. All these extra wires you could use, but you don't need them. You can tuck those away. You need to have these hooked up in order for it to work, otherwise it will not work. But once you have all these wires connected, the last step is to connect the batteries to the power wires that feed into the ESC, to power the ESC. I'm gonna have to connect the batteries together with some wires. So the side that's colored black is the negative side. You're gonna connect a wire to this black wire, which is also the negative wire. The negative side of the battery is connected to the black wire. Now we have to connect the positive side to the red wire. The positive side of the battery should be colored red, and it should have a little plus mark on the side of it. Now make sure that the wires from the negative and positive battery terminals do not touch each other. Otherwise, this will happen. If you connect the batteries and that's what happens, that means it's wrong. What should happen is that you should only get a little spark like this. Like that. And that was the final step, and everything should work now. This speed controller has 3 different speeds. It has slow, medium, and fast. So the low speed will only get you at 50% max speed, the mid speed will only get you 75% max speed, and the third and highest speed will get you 100% max speed. And while you're in reverse, you will only go 50% max speed. I want to see what those 3 different speeds look like. Let's try it on the low speed first. Let's try the medium speed. And lastly, let's try the high speed. I have the motor loosely put on. I don't have it tightened down, so it's still a little wobbly. That's why you have that weird thing with the chain. The batteries in the front row right here, each individual battery is a 12 volt battery with 7 amp hours. The batteries back here are also 12 volts, but these are 10 amp hour batteries. There's 6 batteries hooked up in series, which comes out to a voltage of 72 volts. These are also hooked up in series, so that these batteries are also at 72 volts. Then I hooked this row of batteries in parallel with this row of batteries. All these batteries are hooked up to the equivalent of one large battery that's at 72 volts and has 17 amp hours of power. And I also connected the batteries so it powers the ESC on this side and the ESC on that side at the same time, which allows me to do this. The next step is to neatly put all the wires on the go-kart somehow and to cover up all the exposed terminals. Okay guys, all the wiring is completed. This right here is the battery voltage indicator. This battery voltage indicator is specifically for 72 volts only. And when I push this button right here, it's gonna tell me the voltage it's at. It's a little over 72 volts, but that's fine. It doesn't have to exactly be 72 volts, it can be a little over. The wires for that are right here, these little thin ones, and I just connected them directly to the battery wires. And these wires are connected to all the batteries underneath this wooden board right here. So this indicator is measuring all the batteries. And to check my speed, I'm gonna use a GPS speed meter, which is gonna tell me how fast I'm going in miles per hour. So this is my speed meter. But enough talk, let's test drive this thing. As you can see, I'm pushing down on the pedals and it's not working. That's because you have to put on the keys first. This key goes onto the left side. So that's on. I'm gonna put this key on the right side. That's on. And now it'll work. Oops. I'm gonna start off by doing the low setting. I'm gonna switch to the medium setting. Let's see how fast this goes. Now I'm gonna go to the fastest setting. I keep crashing into my welder. So all that was on the right side. It's the side with the biggest sprocket. Now we're gonna do this left side that has the small sprocket. I'm gonna go easy on it. I'm not sure if this is gonna work or not. It might break or it might bend, so I'm gonna go easy on it. It seems to work. I didn't think it would move, but it seems to work. Well, that broke off because I only had it tacked on. I didn't have it fully welded. This large sprocket gives me a lot of torque, which means I can start and move the go-kart really easily, but it doesn't have the fastest speed. I can, but I shouldn't start moving the go-kart with this sprocket. I'll only use this when I'm already moving, so I already have that momentum moving me forward, and then I'll use this to make me go even faster. But I'm not gonna use this to start with. This would be way too much power on this little gear. It's too much. So in my next video, I'm gonna take this go-kart outside. We'll see how fast it can accelerate. We'll see its top speed. We'll see how long the batteries last. And I can't wait just to see. And I can't wait just to see how fun it is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.